Hi, this video will talk about counting atoms in a chemical formula. So, I'm sorry, this sometimes it acts so weird that it doesn't let me see what I'm doing. All right, so counting atoms, it talks about how to count atoms in a chemical formula. So if I have a chemical formula, then how many atoms of hydrogen and how many atoms of oxygen do I have? Well, first of all, I need to know what is this H and what is this O, in this chemical formula. So when we look at the periodic table have elements on it, and those elements have name on them. So we have sodium, and when I look at the right in the same box of sodium, right above or underneath, there is a capital and a small letter. That capital and a small letter, for example, Na for sodium, and for hydrogen it is H. This is a symbol of that element, and usually that symbol is represented by one capital, like carbon, or one capitals, one small letter. So both of these are the symbols. This is a symbol of carbon. This is a symbol of calcium. It could be one capital and another small letter right here, one capital, other small letter right here, or just one capital letter. Either way, it's fine. They're just symbols of different, elements. So you just need to know that if you are given a chemical formula, one is it one capital letter, then it is the symbol of the one element. But when it is one capital, one small letter, it is the again symbol of one element. So what you don't want to know is, if it is CaCl2, so you must understand that this is one element and this is another element. These are two different elements. So I don't want you to look for this whole thing in the form in the periodic table, because that is a periodic table of elements. So you can find them individually but not together. The other thing I want to be clear on is that when you have to write this calcium, I see sometimes it's written like this. And when I tell them that, each capital letter represents one element. So when you write two capital letters, you're telling me these are two different elements, which technically is not right. This is not what you really mean. And then I'm told that this is just my style. So when it comes to science, these things matter and they mean a lot. So style doesn't work right here. So this is how I see on the paper. Like if I see C and then I see L instead of having CL, it will be considered wrong. So make sure when you write the symbols, you are careful with capital and small letter. Same thing if I see B and A, it is not the symbol of any element. It has to be capital B and then small a. So keep that in mind when you're writing chemical symbols of the elements. Now, for any chemical symbol that is written, and if there is a number at the bottom, the subscript, it tells you how many atoms of each element you have. So you will find the subscript right here in the right, at the bottom in the right corner, and it gives you the number of atoms. So you have this 2 means you have 2 chlorine atoms. This 4 means you have 4 phosphorus atoms. Or here you have 2 hydrogen atoms. Okay, then there is no number, that means it's 1. Okay, so no number doesn't mean 0, no number means 1. So you have 1 sulfur atom and then you have 4 oxygen atoms. So a subscript outside of the bracket multiplies all elements inside the bracket. So what if the subscript is outside of the parenthesis? So this 3 is sitting with calcium, that means you have 3 atoms of calcium. But this 2 is outside of the parentheses, and what do you find inside the parentheses? You find phosphorus and you find oxygen. So what this line is telling you, that this number that is outside the parentheses multiplies by everything inside the parentheses. So it's going to multiply with the 1 of the phosphorus and it is going to multiply with the 4 of oxygen. That gives me 2 atoms of phosphorus and 8 atoms of oxygen. So this is how you must understand how to count atoms. If it is just one element, then whatever the number at the bottom is, it is the number of atoms. If it is a compound, you have to do the math same way, 2, 1, 4. But if it is a number outside the parentheses, that number multiplies with everything inside the parentheses. It will not affect calcium. You see, calcium is still 3. So this number is not affecting calcium because calcium is outside the parentheses. On the other hand, instead of having a number on the parentheses, if there is a coefficient which is in front of the number, if I have 3 Ca, 3 PO4, parentheses 2. So this 2, as I explained here, is going to multiply with oxygen, okay, and with phosphorus. But this 3 is going to multiply with everything in front of it. So it is going to multiply with calcium, okay, so give you how many? 9 calcium. It's going to multiply with phosphorus. So I have 2 phosphorus already right here. So phosphorus will be 2 times 3, so it will be 6. It's going to multiply with oxygen, okay. I have 8 oxygens already because this is multiplying, and then I'm going to multiply it with 3 that's up in the front. It's 24 oxygens. So please make sure you understand the difference between the number that's outside the parentheses and the coefficient. The coefficient is the only one that is good for everybody in front of it. It is going to multiply everything in front of it. But the number outside the parentheses will only get multiplied by the elements or atoms that are inside the parentheses. For example, you have 3 carbon, so that means you have 1 multiplied by 3. So you have 3 carbon atoms. You have sodium, you multiply the sodium with 2, so you have 4 sodium. You have 2, okay, you have 4 sodium, 2 sulfur, and then 8 oxygens. So I hope you understand how to count number of atoms in any chemical formula. So that's all we wanted to talk about in this video, how to count atoms. Thank you.